There is in this country, I guarantee you, like billions of dollars worth of ideas sitting in people's minds.
So people who've never been in a fight,
Uh-huh.
they think like, oh yeah, I can fight. I'm going to beat this dude's ass. And then they get punched in the mouth and they're like, I was not ready for this. So it's like the same with business, right? You're like,
Just got to keep going and keep putting in the work, pivoting, and maybe getting like professional help of like someone to help you plan your business. And then if you are doing the action steps that it takes to take you to the next level, then it will just happen.
welcome back to another episode of Unpacking Life with the box and the basket-less basket. We've had a lot of thoughts, I guess, and talks. It's the beginning of the year, so we're always looking to expand our business, make more money, grow our net worth, and we constantly see stuff on social media of like people expanding their businesses, opening new businesses. And so we just want to talk to you guys about what makes a good entrepreneur, what makes business people successful, failures. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we appreciate y'all listening or watching, however you're getting our content.
Yes, and if you're on podcast, leave us a review.
Please.
But only a nice one.
That's fine. So we obviously have our business in real estate, and we've been expanding little by little into other entrepreneurial businesses.
Endeavors? Yes.
Yeah. So you want to talk about that?
Well, since I'm a more seasoned entrepreneur, so there's so many, like, I don't even know where to start. There's so much I want to say, and then, like, I can't say it out.
Just spew it out.
Spew it out in the right order. But we were just talking about this. Like, so I obviously, real estate business, like a lot of people are like, you're not an entrepreneur. Like, selling real estate is not something that's like, like an idea that somebody came up with. Like, a lot of people do it, right? And I could see it in some aspect, but there is people that are real estate agents, and then there are people that take it seriously as like a business, and they plan their business. They treat it a little bit differently as like opposed to like a hobby real estate agent.
Because I think most agents just kind of do it on the side. Like they still have their full-time job and they have their license.
Not most, but a lot.
A lot, yeah. And I think most is because they're scared and they want something that's continuous and like steady to be coming in. Where real estate, I mean, you can go months without a check.
Right. And especially if you don't have like systems, processes, like if you don't dissect what you're doing as like a business, this applies to a lot of other industries like hairdressers, makeup artists, bakers. Like there's so many small businesses that have an idea and they're really good at what they do.
Right.
They might be really good at doing makeup or making cookies or like whatever. But then they lack maybe sometimes the direction of how to grow their business to the next level. Right. Like same for like restaurant owners. Like there's so many businesses that people have and they can't figure out how to like scale, how to make more money, how to grow the business bigger. And maybe they don't want to, but
I was gonna say, do you think that's because they're comfortable where they're at, or
so that I think that's one of the main things. Like we're gonna talk about like what makes a successful entrepreneur, and I think one of the qualities you have to have is being okay with being uncomfortable. And I think a lot of times they do fall back to like, oh, this is comfortable, like I'm making enough money, and they have like a lot of limiting beliefs like, oh, that will take too much work, I can't do that, I don't know how to. So they never go out and try to find like resources and things that will help them get to the next level. So
sometimes you just gotta take the leap.
Yes.
Quit your 6-figure job and join your wife in real estate. to grow multi-million-dollar organization.
Sounds like a drug ring.
An organized crime.
So, I know people that are more successful in real estate than I am. And then I know a lot that are less successful.
Sure.
And I've kind of built it to where we need it to be. Like, I feel like we have a good work-life balance. We have time to pursue other things if we get burnt out with real estate. And
we say it all the time. It's like we're retired already.
Yeah. And we work. Like, when our clients need us, like, we work hard for them. But we're like at a balance where we know exactly how much we want to make every year. We know exactly what we need to do to make that much money. Like, it's all broken down. There's a formula for everything. And it's not just like, well, I'm going to do an open house, hopefully get a buyer, and I'm going to post on Instagram, and that's it. Like, there is a method to the madness for everything. And I think a lot of people lack. The other day I was talking to someone, and they've been in real estate maybe 5 or 6 years. And she's with a super huge brokerage, and they always have these mixers and happy hours and all this stuff and motivational speakers and all, like, everything, right? The whole shebang. And I'm like, well, how's your business plan looking? She's like, what business plan? I've never done a business plan. And I just, like, my jaw was on the floor. Yeah. Like, how do you, it doesn't, like, I get so mad. You don't need a motivational speaker. You don't need, like, all these fancy things. I mean, maybe you need those, like, they will help.
Yeah.
But if you do not have a freaking business plan that will work, then how can you go anywhere?
You need a foundation.
You're just aimlessly just going through your day and with no plan.
And here's a shameless plug. Look out in the future.
Yes.
Near future. We're going to be building programs on how to teach agents and just business people, entrepreneurs, how to build their businesses and how to get that foundation to start building from there. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Send us a message with your email if you want to be put on that list for that. But I just think so that's the number one thing is they don't like being uncomfortable. They have limiting beliefs like, oh, I can't do that. Like, they stop themselves in their mind before they even start.
I listened to, like, a lot of different podcasts, and one of these guys says he's super successful. And he says, like, the difference between a successful business and an unsuccessful business is action.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will sit there and think, like, oh man, I could do this and that would give me a lot of followers, or that would give me a lot of business, that would give me a lot of money. But the difference is between the person that thinks those things and acts on those and the person that just thinks on them and just has ideas.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and move forward with it.
There is, in this country, I guarantee you, like, billions of dollars worth of ideas sitting in people's minds.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that just don't get explored. And like I said, like, our real estate business is not like an idea we came up with. Like, oh, nobody else sells real estate. But like, the ideas that we have behind it, like how we take care of our clients, how we grow our business,
events,
how we, like, everything. And even that, like, you copy and paste it from other people, but there's action, right? So it might not be the most innovative, breathtaking, like, innovation, but there's different types of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And we're not, like, obviously the tech people that invented an app and got rich or whatever, but there's something for everyone. Yeah. So just because you are not good maybe with people and you don't want to be in a service kind of industry like we are, there's probably something you're good at that you can monetize on. And I just think that there's so many opportunities here in this country. It's so easy to open a business. It's so easy to make money.
I think it just comes down to, like, finding a need and finding a solution to that need, or how to, like, fill that need, supply something to that need.
Yeah.
Whether it's real estate or not. And I think a lot of people get hooked on this whole, like, oh, well, Vanessa's doing this, so I can't do this. But, like, it may work even better for you. It may not work for you if it's something that we're doing. Or I can't tell you how many ideas we've gotten from other agents. We're like, oh, actually, that's a really good idea. And it seems to be getting them business. Like, let's try it out and see if it works for us.
Yeah.
And if it works for us, then we'll continue doing it, or maybe we'll shift it a little bit to kind of fit our business and our mission. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move on to the next idea.
Which brings me to my next thing. I need to write these down of how
it's all recorded, so I think we're all right.
How to become, like, what makes a successful entrepreneur is that you pivot, right? Like, if something doesn't work for you, you don't give up. Like, oh, it didn't work. Like, chances are the first thing that you try is not going to work. You know how many things I tried to get clients in the beginning when we knew no one?
Yeah.
Like, I sent out mailers, I hung stuff on people's doors, like so many different things. And I just had to find what works for me. And
this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, we started out and we kind of set a goal. Like, we're just going to throw spaghetti on the wall the first year and see what people like, see what people don't like.
The spaghetti is slowly sliding down the wall.
And we're almost at a year. And we gave ourselves that year where, like, if it's not working out or we don't see where it's going to go in a good direction, then we're going to pivot and do something else or change it up.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
So as we're recording this, we have 400 some odd subscribers. Yeah. By the time this gets released, hopefully we'll have, I don't know how many, but
10 million. You never know.
I'm not going to
tell your friends.
I want to say I doubt it, but that's a limiting belief. I'm not.
You already have it in your head, so you're already limiting us.
No.
Thanks.
But it is like, once you have like that mindset, and I think for us, it's, I want to say so many things at once. Another part of being a successful entrepreneur is who you're around and who is your support system. If it were not for you, like when you were working your 9 to 5, I can only take my business to a certain level.
Sure.
Because I was not willing to sacrifice like my time with you when you were home and like growing other businesses while you were working.
Right.
Because we just didn't have the time. But now that you have quit, it's almost a year since you've quit. We brainstorm all the time. Like something comes to us, we think about it. The people around us, a lot of them are business owners. They are super supportive. Like we'll post something, they share it, they tell their friends about it, they tell everybody about it, and they support us. And if we have a dumb idea, they support us anyway.
No.
Our friend Val, she'll tell me, put on blush in the podcast because you look like you're dead. I'm like, okay, I'll put on some blush.
But we need that type of criticism and feedback.
Right. And I think that your environment can either make or break you. Like if you're around a bunch of people that are just like, just tearing you down and jealous and not happy with themselves.
I don't know about that. Or
are you sure?
I don't know if that'll work out. Like, are you sure you want to take that chance? Don't.
And I really don't know what that would be like because we have been so lucky, but also we're very selective about like who we spend our time with. And they usually align with kind of how we live our life. Aligns with how, they live their life. So but if it's not that way in your life, you need to like take inventory really and look at like, is my husband holding me back?
Am I?
I've known people that have tried to start businesses and the husband was like,
well, yeah.
Oh, you're not working out. You've been doing this for like 8 months and you're not making any money. Like, I never heard that from you. And I think if I had, I would have probably just quit and did something else because I don't know if I could have taken the pressure.
Yeah, I've always seen it because I know exactly who you're talking about. And we've had a couple friends like that where their spouses are kind of not breaking them down. I don't know that they necessarily do it on purpose. It's just like they may have some insecurities or they don't believe in themselves or they haven't done like something of that scale, like building their own business. So then they don't know how to support them, maybe. And even me at the time, like I didn't know how much work it would take for you to build this business, but I knew me being negative or not supporting you wasn't going to help.
Yeah.
And financially, we were doing all right. Like we were getting by with my check alone. So it was like the only option we have is to win. Yeah. And even now we have that mentality where like we're going to do something. And I mean, failure is never an option, right? Like even if we're doing bad at something, it'll get better eventually. We'll get a video that goes viral. We'll get a short that goes viral. We'll get followers. Like in the beginning, a year ago, I would never imagine that we had 400 plus subscribers. Like there was no freaking way. Even when we had 20, I was like, holy crap, like 20 people want to listen to this shit.
And even 400 is still like,
it's nothing in like the social media world, but like I've seen.
But you've told me this before. Like fill a room with 400 people.
That's what I was
a lot
say.
of people.
There's I don't even know who it is, but they're like, just like, even if you have 5 followers or 10 followers or 400 plus followers, like imagine you're hosting an event every week and then you have these 400 people. Like that's a lot of freaking people. Yeah. Like it's a big deal. And I'm proud of ourselves of, even if that's where we stop. I think it's really good.
But it's not. And that's my thing. It's like, I need to find like a really good analogy for this. And maybe it will come to me. But like with this, right? Like it started because we started a different channel for clients, potential clients moving to the Colorado Springs area.
Moving to Colorado Springs, go check it out. It's a different YouTube channel.
It's not the original, so sorry. There's another channel that is has a moving to Colorado Springs channel. When we made the name, like when I just was like, what is it about? It's about moving to the Springs, so that's what we named it.
It's like the easiest thing that people would search on a search bar, like moving to Colorado Springs. Like,
and it's not like you can't trademark it or anything. Like it was just, I didn't like, I saw this channel, now I'm gonna name mine the same. And the format of the videos is like, somebody, I don't even know who the first person was that did it, but this person was copied several times. So there's like moving to Phoenix, moving to San Antonio, like all over. And it's like, there's a blueprint for it, basically. Like we didn't think of it ourselves. There's like pros and cons of moving here. Like anything, like put yourself in the shoes of someone that's moving to an area and what would you want to know? And that's what we have there.
But anyways,
all that to say is that's one of like,
so we started recording that
pillars in our business plan. We started recording that, and Ricky could not. He's like, if you know him or if you followed us, you can't like really show your personality because it's a different type of channel, different information. Like you're just giving the information quick. You're not sitting there talking like we like to do. And Ricky is a big talker, storyteller, all that. So it was horrible. I mean, it still is. We still put out the content.
Maybe we'll
but that's how we came up with this. And he's
I think I woke you up in the middle of the night. I was like, hey, what do you think about doing like a podcast?
And then we got in an argument and you were like, we're going to talk about it on the podcast about who's right and who's wrong. So with that, Ricky wanted to do this, like, business, like talking about everything as like a creative outlet. And really, we didn't realize at the time that we were making ourselves double the work. Like it's exhausting. It is.
But like, also on the backside of that, it's like we're kind of video documenting stuff that the kids can have in the future. And they're like, oh, remember mom and dad would like record videos and stuff? And then they can have that.
Our insight. For a lifetime. Wow. Obviously. That's what I'm still doing.
Because Dion watches it and he's like, it's like, oh, I heard you guys talking about me.
Yeah. So with that, I've been talking for 10 minutes and all I wanted to say is that the only way to go is up. If it takes you a year, or if it takes us a year to get 2 more subscribers, it takes us a year to get 2 more subscribers. But if you keep going, you see what works. And we talk to our editor, Zeke. We see what works, what doesn't work. We change our content to that. We still stay true to ourselves, but like we kind of pivot every time we need to. And then things happen or they don't happen. So if you continuously are trying to improve and you are listening to feedback, you're changing things, there is only one way to go and it's up. Even if like the business fails and you're like, you know what, that failed because of this, and that. But what about this? Like if you're constantly
you can always learn something from the failures too.
Yeah. I think that if you always, like Walt Disney, perfect example. He, I pulled up the whole timeline because I've heard about it. But so he did you know that he lied to get into the American Ambulance Corps to serve in
World War One or two.
One, yeah. Anyway, he came back. He got a job at a commercial studio, making like $50 a month or something. And then they formed iWorks, Disney commercial artists, and the company fails after 1 month. Then they get $15,000 from investors, and they form incorporates Laugh-O-Gram Films. That fails a year later. And then he did Disney. But then that was in 2023. That's why the 100-year anniversary just passed. But then Mickey didn't really put him on the map until 5 years later. So, and they always say that, like, there's Steve Jobs, there's so many people that were broke. They had no money. They just had an idea. And I guarantee you that the first idea that they had did not make them successful. It took several ideas, several tries, several pivots, several, scratch that business plan. What about this one?
Right.
Planning and evolving and just keep going. And then it's like the way to the top is not linear, right? Like it's up and down. So you're going to fail and then you're going to go back up and then you might fail again and you go back up, but you can get up there. The problem is people fail when they stay there.
They're done.
They don't. You can never get there to that top. So,
it just depends on the person too. I know we've talked about it before about like the person's character, trauma, and stuff that they've been through.
Their mindset.
Yeah, there's Mr. Ballin. Shout out to Mr. Ballin. I love listening to all his stories and stuff.
We met him once in.
And at Universal Studios. I think he lives in Texas. And like randomly we were in Universal Studios and he was like walking behind us and I turned around and he wears like the same hat. He always has like a backwards hat and he has like semi-long hair and then has like a flannel on. I was like, is that just a generic white dude with the flannel or is that Mr. Ballin? And I turned around, I was like, are you John? And he's like, yeah, what's up, man? Like shook his hand. And I didn't want to take time from his family and stuff. So I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And then he asked me, he's like, you want a picture? I was like, yeah, I don't want to like take too much time. So we took a quick pic. But anyways, he talks about, so he was a Navy SEAL and they asked him about like what makes like a good SEAL. And he's like, man, he goes, typically like the people that pass, like most of the people that passed BUDS training with him were like the same, where they were just like bums in life. And they just had nothing to lose. He goes, because usually you'll think that, and I assume this too, like I was in the military and stuff, but I always assumed that it was like the special forces people were always these like jocks and super athletes and stuff. But he goes, those guys are the ones that fail out the easiest because they've always been the best at their sport. They've always been the best like in middle school. Like you always hear the same thing about like NFL athletes. Like they were like crazy good when they were playing flag football at 6 years old. And then they went to middle school and they like crushed it there. They went to high school and they just never lost. Then they went to college and they were just standing out. And then they made it to the NFL. And then they either do really, really well and continue doing really well. Or they like crash and just kind of fall with the pack. But he says like when they go to BUDS training, the Navy SEAL training, that's like their first experience of being less than everybody else just because they make it that way and they don't know how to handle that rejection or how to handle that loss. And a lot of them fail out. But even if you look like at NFL players like Tom Brady, he was like almost picked last in the draft and he's like the greatest football player ever. It's like these guys just, they don't have anything to lose and they just throw everything at whatever they're doing and then they're like super successful. So it has a lot to do with like your character and how your business is going to go. If you're always winning and doing well in your business, then your first loss in business is going to go really bad if you don't know how to handle it.
Most likely, yeah. Because then you just give up.
Right.
But I mean, it depends.
Yeah. So but it's like the old saying, like everybody has a plan so they get punched in the mouth. You ever heard of that?
No.
You've never heard of that?
My thing about plan was, what is it? I always say this. If you fail to plan,
you plan to fail.
You plan to fail. I said it right this time. The other one just get punched in the face.
No, it's like So people who've never been in a fight,
Uh-huh.
they think like, oh yeah, I can fight. I'm going to beat this dude's ass. And then they get punched in the mouth and like, whew, I was not ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the same with business, right? You're like, oh, my business is doing great. And then you take a $5,000 loss and you're like, oh man, like this is not good. Like, I don't know what to do now. But it's the same thing. Like just having a plan when you have adversity, being able to overcome that.
I think honestly, the biggest thing is, like, if I had to say a number one, is that people just give up.
Yeah.
And they don't have, and that's the thing, like, if you don't have the tools, you don't have the mindset, you don't have the resources to keep going, you can find them. Like, there's so, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google, like, there are so many resources. It's like, do you want it bad enough?
Right.
And are you willing to do what it takes? Or are you just going to sit on your hands?
But we go back to the action, right?
I can't, yeah.
Like you have to put in action to be successful. You can't
so
just have
I guess
ideas.
Number one is not giving up.
Yeah.
Number one would be, there's so many important ones.
I know. This could be like a 10-hour long freaking episode. Yes. But yeah, so I think the most important thing is just putting yourself out there, not being afraid to fail, and just putting action into your business.
Like doing something.
Yeah.
I guess the action is the most important thing.
Yeah. Because if not, then you just, like you said, you have $1 billion ideas.
You have all these ideas and ways that you could make money, but you're not like putting yourself out there.
You just have to try it. Trial and error. That's all it is.
Another thing you said, like find a problem that people are having and then find a solution.
Right.
So Melanie Perkins, she's from Australia. She was teaching students how to use desktop design software. Okay. The software was expensive, complex, and required a semester's worth of instruction to learn how to use it. And so she kept asking herself, like, is there a way that this could be simpler and less expensive? And guess what she's the creator of? I use it all the time, but you don't really use it, so you probably don't know. No idea. Canva.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So she found a problem, right? The problem is that this software is too expensive. It's too complicated to use. And she was turned down by over 100 investors. Oh, and it took her 3 years of pitching Canva to different people before she caught a break and got her first investment.
Really?
And now there are 60 million users that use Canva across 190 countries.
That's like where you can design.
It's just like they have templates. Basically. They have like a free membership. They have there's tiered memberships like Pro, whatever. And it's not that expensive. I think the most expensive one might be like $35 or something. But like you can do anything like posters, postcards. They have like different integrations now where you can like videos, guides, books, like anything you could think of, you can do on Canva. And now they have like a built-in AI integration and like it's not, I mean, it's design. I'm not very like creative that way. So for me, I like having the templates because
just more simple.
It's more simple, but like she saw a need.
Right.
And then she had an idea, right? Like somebody else probably had an idea just like her. But the difference between her and the other person that's not rich is that she took action and she didn't give up. Like 100 investors? I don't know if I could do it.
Over 100.
Yeah.
For like 3 years.
3 years just being told, nope, no. Like over and over. Like that takes like the mental load of like, I don't even know. Like it takes a lot of, what does Master TJ teach the kids? Perseverance.
Mental fortitude.
Oh, okay. That's a new one. I've heard it, but don't use this is not a fancy words podcast.
I'm not a fancy word type of guy.
English is just both of our second languages. And I can't even, apparently I have some kind of speech impediment where I sound drunk.
You're drunk all the time?
Yeah. I slur my words. I just think too fast and then the words just...
Your mouth can't keep up with your brain.
Even when I'm writing.
You like skipping words?
I just like, I'm like, I just want to say this already, and my hand can't write as fast, and now it's just chicken scratch.
Just use voice to text. Print it out.
Yeah. But in my journal, I don't want to print my journal.
That's
I write, true. I'm grateful for this. Thank you for this. I love my
Yeah.
family because of this. My family's getting on my nerves because of this.
My favorite thing about life is...
So, but I think entrepreneurship, and like, especially in this country, like we just went to Germany recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's just night and day. Like they don't have the opportunities that you have in the United States. You can't just, like, there's so much is it called red tape? Red line? Red tape?
Red tape.
To be able to open a business, and like, right. Then you're taxed out of the, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we pay a decent amount of taxes, but not 50%. Yeah. So, if you are someone that has a business idea, that doesn't know where to start, that doesn't know, I don't know, how to put into action, like what's in your head, reach out to us. We'd love to help you. Yep. Like we said, we're going to start, this is going to be one of our endeavors. Yeah. Something, and I think like I've been giving free advice to other people in business for years, yeah. Right? So,
it's crazy. I think that's when we got the idea, just because so many people come to you to ask about their business and your business and the similarities and how you grew your business and how they can grow their business. So it's like, I think we can monetize something out of that. And so we've been working on this for the last few months, and we'll be rolling out soon. So keep an eye out for the program. Yep.
And do we have a summary of what makes a good entrepreneur? Entrepreneur.
Just
I wrote down notes.
Oh, go ahead then, player.
No, you go first. Go ahead. I want to know what
my whole thing is just action. Just do something.
Yeah.
Don't idle hands. They don't.
Idle hands don't do it.
I don't know.
Was there a saying?
Yeah, but I forgot it. Something with idle
action.
Hands. I gotta look it up.
Support system. Telling yourself that failure is not an option. Having a business plan. And deleting limiting beliefs from your brain. Did you look it up?
Totally different one. Oh. Idle hands are the devil's playground. Just says.
Okay, that turned quickly.
Someone who is unoccupied and bored will find mischief. Or someone who has nothing to do will partake in something that will get him into trouble.
Yeah, no.
So that doesn't fit. I'm just thinking ignore. Idle hands, like your hands are just still, and then you're going to find.
Just make a new one. Anything. Make a new quote.
Ricky a Vanessaism?
Idle hands.
Keep you broke.
No.
Yes.
It has to rhyme. Idle hands. Stands. Fans. Brands. Idle hands kills brands.
No, that's a good one, actually.
Your brand, you can't build anything if you don't do anything.
Idle hands kills brands. Put some action to your thoughts.
Yes.
And be successful, and then shout us out whenever you're huge.
Oh, and one more thing, it's gonna suck. Like, you're gonna have to work hard. You're gonna have to, especially if you don't have the luxury of having, quitting your 9 to 5. A lot of people are in situations where they have responsibilities. They have maybe kids, a spouse, they have to bring in income. Right. So they have a passion, they have a business they want to build. But a lot of very successful entrepreneurs had to work 2-3 jobs, work their main job for income, and then maybe another job, and then work on their business. So it sucks. But if it sucks maybe for 2, 3, 4, 5 years max, and something happens.
Max, but yeah.
But the outcome, right? What is the alternative? Say you're, 32. You're working another 30 years and you get a set income as a pension, and you're not really going anywhere, right? You're kind of living an average life. Say 5 to 10 years. Don't interrupt my train of thought because I'm going to lose everything.
All right. Sorry.
But if would you rather just work the same, put out the same amount of effort for 30 years, working every day, getting 2 weeks off every year, or Do you want 5 years of your life possibly to really suck because you're working overtime and you're, on your own business, you're building something while you're working a 9 to 5, but then your business takes off, you can quit your 9 to 5, and now you have 25 years of you being your own boss and you deciding when you go on vacation, what you spend your funds on, how much you want to work, how much you want to put into it, and what your success will be. So for us, it's always been like, how can we get to this point where we have more freedom through businesses?
Yeah.
Anyway, now you can talk.
I saw a movie recently, Unbroken, about, what's his name? Louis Zamperini. He's like a World War I vet. And he was like a POW. And his brother, like in the movie at least, I don't know how it happened in real life, but in the movie, his brother tells him this quote. And he basically says, like, endure a moment of pain for a lifetime of glory. And like, I really believe that, like, it's going to suck for a little bit, but the end goal, once you achieve your success, it's going to be a lifetime of glory. So
yeah, I agree.
Endure that moment of pain. However long the moment is.
I know. Well, there's this graphic too that they show sometimes of like somebody that's like digging for gold, right? And they're digging and they're digging and they're digging and they get tired. One person gets tired and they walk away. And they're like this close to hitting the gold. And then the other person keeps going and boom, they hit it. So it's like you never know how close you are to like success. So you just can't give up and you just got to keep going and keep putting in the work, pivoting, and maybe getting like professional help of like someone to help you plan your business. And then if you are doing the action steps that it takes to take you to the next level, then it will just happen.
Right. So leave us a comment. Let us know what has worked for you in your business, what you think will make you successful or anybody in business successful. And we'd love to hear it and share it on a different episode if we can. So feel free to reach out to us. All our info is on the channel. But like always, thank you very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.